Ladies and gentlemen, today we're taking a look at the brand new Destiny 2 exotic sidearm, Traveler's Chosen. And well, it's not brand new. We did have this gun once already, in the form of a busted up white weapon that we got in the second mission of the Red War campaign. But it's returned to us in exotic form, in the culmination of Season 11. At least, I think this is the culmination, because before it was delayed, Beyond Light would have been launching only 2 weeks from now. But I don't think Bungie has anything else up their sleeves planned for Season 11. I mean, we are getting Festival of the Lost, but I'm pretty sure the seasonal content has run its course. Unless Bungie springs some big evacuation / send-off event for Season 11, which would be absolutely awesome. But I've got a little off course here. We're here to review the Traveler's Chosen. We'll take a look at stats, perks, function, and get a feel for how it performs in both PvP and PvE. And if you do find yourself enjoying the content, all I ask is that you leave it a like, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel if you want to see more Destiny 2 videos similar to this one. But we'll kick off this review in the standard fashion by taking a brief look at how to obtain this weapon for those who have not done so already. Let me just start off by saying I thought the exotic quest to obtain Traveler's Chosen was great, and it served as a very fitting farewell to the 4 destinations that are being vaulted with Beyond Light. But to start this quest, visit Zavala at the tower and he will start you on the Exodus evacuation quest, where first you'll need to see Ashermere on Io. First thing Asher's gonna do is send you into the Sanctum of Bones Lost Sector to defeat Taken and a Taken Phalanx boss. Upon returning to Asher, you'll find he wants you to run the Pyramidion Strike and defeat Vex. Once completed, back to Asher again, and he'll send you to do the Unexpected Guest Heroic Adventure. And I'm actually gonna stop right there because that's pretty much the gist of it. You'll be doing 3 activities on each of the 3 remaining destinations that are being removed, that being Titan, Mercury, and Mars. Also, there's some good dialogue sprinkled in, as well as a few unexpected surprises. So even if you have absolutely no interest whatsoever in obtaining this weapon, I think experiencing the quest is well worth the 2 hours or so that it's gonna take to complete it. And with that, let's take a look at the weapon's stats. Traveler's Chosen is an exotic kinetic sidearm shooting at 300 rounds per minute with 15 rounds in the magazine. For the stats, let's pull up the actual numbers this time. Checking in with Light.gg, we have a big range stat of 82, which is by far the best for any sidearm in the game. The stability is pretty average at 68, and the handling is listed at 59, but there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the website and the in-game display because of the added benefits we're getting from the short action stock and the quick.sas site. And the reload speed sitting at 46, here again is average. For the hidden stats, we have an aim assist value of 80, a bounce intensity of 15, and a recoil of 85, which causes this weapon's recoil direction to be vertical. The intrinsic trait is Gathering Light, where final blows with this weapon grant stacks of Gathering Light. Hold the reload button to consume these stacks, granting melee, grenade, and class ability energy. The exotic perk is Gift of the Traveler. Each stack of Gathering Light improves the weapon's reload, handling, and target acquisition. So we have a sidearm here with some pretty impressive stats and some unique utility through the intrinsic trait and the exotic perk. So with that, let's head over to the Tribute Hall and explore exactly how this weapon functions. First off, let's just get a very general sense of the baseline damage output against this ogre. Traveler's Chosen is doing 2,094 points of damage on a crit and 1,491 points of damage to the body. I selected Drang as a comparable sidearm, which is hitting for 1,992 points of damage on a crit and 1,419 points of damage to the body. So in PvP, the damage output is pretty comparable. Looking at the Gathering Light intrinsic trait, you can see that 1 kill nets us 1 stack, and this will hold true regardless whether it's a trash ad or a boss. And you can see that when I hold reload, I do get a bump to my melee energy. And obviously, with more stacks, I will get a bigger bump. But how much of a bump are we actually getting? Good news, I tested this on both tier 4 strength and tier 7 strength, just to try to eliminate any variables. I started out at 1 stack and worked all the way up to 10 stacks, which is the max that you can carry, and timed how long it took my melee energy to refill. It would be pretty rotten of me to make you sit through the whole testing ordeal, but after analyzing the data, I figured that each stack consumed will refill somewhere between 10 to 12% of the melee meter. Which makes perfect sense. I mean, you can carry 10 stacks, 10% per stack, it all lines up. So by consuming 10 stacks, you will completely refresh your ability. What I found most impressive was this was not split between the abilities that are on cooldown. Each meter gets the full effect when consuming these stacks. Also, these stacks can be carried indefinitely. Swap weapons, melee, use abilities, cast supers. Unless you die or consume the stacks, you will maintain them. And due to the exotic perk, we're getting a boost to handling with each stack, which affects aim down sight speed and weapon ready speed, plus a boost to the reload speed. And the difference between 0 stacks and 10 stacks is very noticeable. Taking a look at the range for Traveler's Chosen, we are looking at an 18 meter optimal range. Past that, we will start to see damage fall off. Taking a look at the weapon's recoil real quick before we move on, we do get some muzzle climb that is very vertical, but regardless of whether you're aiming down sights or firing from the hip, the patterns are nearly identical. And with that, hopefully we're armed with enough adequate information. So let's talk about its performance in PvE. In PvE activities, Traveler's Chosen could be the ultimate all-purpose weapon for any ability-focused build. If you're a Titan and want to have your hammer strike on demand whenever you need it, this is your gun. If you're a hunter and never want to be without a dodge, not that you need it, the cooldown is what, like 4 seconds on that thing? Maybe that's a bad example. If you're a hunter and you never want to be without your throwing knife, this is your gun. Or if you're doing it like me and you want to play a warlock and you want that charged vortex grenade up consistently, this is your gun. And that's just to name a few. This gun can basically roll into anything that you're trying to accomplish. Also, this gives you the ability to kind of neglect a specific stat category. You could spec heavy into intellect and discipline and rely solely on the gun to refill your strength meter, which allows you a little more flexibility when crafting a build. And the gun itself really is a solid feeling weapon, and that's coming from the perspective of someone who doesn't like using sidearms. Drang and now this gun are probably going to be the 2 exceptions for me. It really does feel good, especially if you start holding onto your stacks of Gathering Light. Visually, the effect on the gun is really cool also. The more stacks you gain, the brighter the light from between the cracks starts to glow. And I really do appreciate things like this. It really adds extra character to the weapon. It gives you the sense that you're wielding the light, and that's cool. Just a couple drawbacks to take note of in PvE. This is an exotic weapon that does not have a catalyst yet, so you will not be generating orbs of light with this thing. Also, you're using up your exotic slot on a primary weapon, which means you're not going to be able to use those big heavy weapon damage dealers like Whisper of the Worm or Xenophage. There are some pretty viable legendary options in the heavy slot, but this is definitely something to consider. Do you find more value in having your abilities up when you need them? Or is the increased damage output from your heavy slot a necessity? The choice is yours. But let's head into the Crucible and talk about how Traveler's Chosen holds up in there. Alright, first things first, the damage numbers. Traveler's Chosen will do 51 points of damage on a critical hit and 37 points of damage to the body, giving us an optimal time to kill of 0.6 seconds, requiring 4 crits, and a body shot time to kill of 1 second, requiring 6 shots landed. Another thing to take note of here is that we are gaining 3 stacks of Gathering Light for each secured kill on an enemy Guardian. As for its performance in the Crucible, I mean, it feels good here too. And I'll reiterate the fact that this is from the opinion of someone who doesn't really care to use sidearms. To a certain extent, I actually trust myself to land shots with this weapon. So I could imagine if sidearms are your thing, this gun could feel amazing. Just that base, that big range stat and the high aim assist value do seem to do a world of good for this gun. And it just starts getting better and better with the more stacks of Gathering Light that you gain. Since you're getting that boost to your target acquisition, which on console will make your weapon feel more sticky on enemy players, and on PC you will gain some bullet magnetism. Plus, you're also getting the added benefits of increased handling and reload speed, which is always much appreciated when playing at closer ranges. And we are talking about a 300 round per minute sidearm, with a very fast TTK value. And the ability to down players in 0.6 seconds from up to 18 meters away is very powerful, provided you can land those crits. And here again, the ability uptime. If you've caught any of my previous weapon reviews, you probably noticed that I use my charged vortex grenade a lot. I live and die by that ability, and any additional uptime is worth its weight in gold to me. And I'm sure a lot of people have an ability for their preferred class that they feel the same way about. With Traveler's Chosen, as long as you're netting kills, you're going to have the option to use that ability just that much more. For some drawbacks though, the base handling and reload aren't anything to write home about. In this gun, it is a sidearm. We are talking about close range firepower. Some people, including myself, just aren't as comfortable playing in tight. I mean, I'm not as young as I used to be, and my brain just needs a little bit of extra time to process things, you know? I generally prefer to keep back just a little bit in most cases. And you do need to secure kills to fuel this weapon. If you're not downing enemies with this gun, all you have is a standard sidearm. A very solid sidearm, but you gotta do your thing to make this gun work. So all in all, I would say the Traveler's Chosen is a great gun. It could definitely be very strong in the right hands in the Crucible, but I think this weapon will see its biggest upside in PvE activities. On this side of the game, there are constantly ads around for you to start accumulating stacks and maximize whatever build you're running. And this feels absolutely awesome because it feeds right into the power fantasy of being a virtually unkillable wielder of space magic. I think the PvE side of Destiny feels best when you really lean into the power of your Guardian, and this gun is a great tool to do that. But yeah, like I said, great gun, great concept. I would definitely recommend giving Traveler's Chosen a try. So if you did enjoy this weapon review, be sure to give that thumbs up button a gentle tap. And a subscribe button is also there if you haven't already made use of it and want to keep up with the Destiny 2 content presented by yours truly. You can look for Ironworker814 on Twitch if you want to come hang out live sometime. To contact me, Twitter is an option, but I will always get back to you in the comments down below. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.